Hey, what's going on, guys? It is Gamerman here, and welcome to another mod review update edition. You'll see that I have the Streamlined passenger cars here, but we're not actually reviewing those as we already did an update on that. No, we're doing an update on something different. We're doing an update on the Streamlined RLW 464 Hudson class. You'll see that I have the Streamlined Atlantic here as well. That's just kind of there as show. But we're going to be reviewing the new Dove class locomotive. So it got a name change. That's kind of the first big thing. You'll also notice that this paint scheme is new too from the last time. We did not have this paint scheme on the previous model. This is the Dove paint scheme. And I think it looks really cool. I like the white on the locomotive. It looks very, very slick, very, very cool. But we're going to take a look at a couple of the things that this locomotive has to offer. So first things first, the marker lights are distinctively different. They look more rounded, and the marker lights kind of fit snugly in here. The whistle has been moved on this. It used to sit further back. I distinctively remember it sat further back. It now sits up on the front of the locomotive. The double stack actually works, because if you look very closely, you'll see two plumes of steam coming out of the stack, or smoke. You'll see that the dynamo is hidden again up on the front of it, and there's a bit more streamlining on it, and I do like this. The cab has had a little bit of work done, which is great, and the back doors do in fact open. These are called barn doors, and they do open, which is great and cool. The gauges and stuff in here are all very nice. There's even a speedo in here now, which is great. On both sides, as a matter of fact, there's a speedometer. And the interior, if we just actually pop in here because it's a whole much easier. The interior is much different than it was. It's got this new wood-like and stone style finish in it, which is very cool. The independent brake is still in the same spot. The bell has been moved to this sort of valve, which I think is interesting because this is also used on the K66 Mikado as the whistle valve. The whistle is now up here. And I've changed the whistle on it, but it spawns with a different whistle. The tender now has this really cool corridor style to it. So you can wander through here, and it is detailed. It is detailed, and you slope down and come through here to the back where you can get on board, and you have the porthole window and everything. So this is very cool and very different from what it used to look like. There's been quite a few changes. But let's just hop in the driver's seat here, and we'll take a look at some of the other things that have been added to the locomotive. So one of the things, like I said, that was added was that it now spawns with the name the Dove instead of the Raider. And you have the Dove class white, RLW blue, the Pensy style, and RLW green, which are the new paint schemes for it. The combinations have changed slightly because now, just like the Atlantic here, you can paint the valve gear down here. And you can paint the roof now as well. So if we switch to the RLW blue, you'll see that the drive gear is now red, the skirting is now red, the roof is now this kind of darker bluish black color. If we switch to the Pensy style, the roof becomes red and the whole engine goes black, which is very nice and very slick. And I would love to use that scheme more. The RL green, you get this beautiful green color on it, which is much different than the green that it used to have. This looks much crisper to me, and it just looks different, and I like it. And then, of course, you have the Dove class white. But there is something interesting to note here. The Raider Locomotive Works has been doing a lot with European locomotives. They've done quite a bit. So if you want this engine to look a little more European, you can add these buffers to the locomotive. Now, personally, I do not like the buffers on here. I prefer the seamless streamlining. But having the buffers on there, if you really want them, they are there. They exist. But I personally like to leave it this way by itself. Now, It used to be that this part under the plow, this part that I'm trying to indicate very desperately, you'll see where these doors are, used to be where the coupler was. The coupler is now hidden underneath this door, and it slides out and you can access it, and you can open and close the coupler and things like that. I don't quite know how to get to the air valve under here. Okay, the air valve is right there. It's a little difficult to get to, but it's there because not a lot of people are going to use the front coupler. But there's the question that I'm trying to answer is, does it hold up to the original version of this mod? Yes, it really does. Especially now that instead of this light being built into the tender, it now has this little shelf that it sits on. And these marker lights are still working and still cool. I like this. You can see that the angle cock is right there, but it's a little hard to get to. But frankly, I think this is really cool and slick. Now, the reason I've spawned these passenger cars over here particularly is because I forgot to mention something in the last video. You can close off sections of the cars with these dividers. You can close them off. I did not mention that in the last one, and I apologize for not mentioning it. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to pin the Atlantic against the Raider. Now, here I have them basically level. You can see that they're essentially level. The cabs are just about in the same place because they're right here in this diagonal fashion. So the Raider is slightly longer because it has a bigger tender. It holds 19 tons of coal and 1,000 gallons of water, whereas the Atlantic holds 16 tons and 4,700 gallons of water. So definitely a staunch difference. But the real question I see people wondering from time to time is, does it still wheel slip? And in theory, it should still wheel slip because it has that mechanic built in because of its low factor of adhesion. Where are you going? Yep, it still slips. So I'm gonna get the Dove into place, and then we're gonna do a speed test with it to see how well this goes. I'm trying to keep these updates as short as possible, but the Atlantic got a little reworking done on it. Not too much. I think it was mainly just the cylinder drains got reworked, if I remember right. So let's get the Dove set up, and then I will catch you in the speed test. Now you may be asking yourself, gamer, why are you only using 3 cars in this speed test? Well, I'm using 3 of the heaviest cars on the train. It's 552 tons, including locomotive. So this is as best as I can get to a speed test proper with this locomotive. Now, of course, with the wheel slipping, we have to be extra careful, but we're going to just see how fast we can get this thing up and moving. So here we go. I'm definitely assuming that this thing is going to blitz away. Now, I never did a speed test with the original, so this is very different from the previous model because it didn't get a speed test. And I can't go back and check. Already at 31 miles an hour. That is staunchly already very quick. That's already very, very fast. Now, in the last speed test, I wanted to inform people that essentially the locomotive had a speed cap on it, which I did not know it had. And so that is why it was only capped at 32 miles an hour. You can see the double plume of smoke coming out of the stack up there as well. Already at 55 miles an hour. This thing's pretty quick. I mean, it is a streamliner, so I expect nothing less. $60 miles an hour, start cutting it back. Just a little to get around these curves. And then we'll really try and open it up. We're only losing 2 miles an hour here. All right, there we go. The open straightaway. We'll give it a little more power. Oh, it seems to be slowing down. It is actively slowing down. Is there a grade here? There is. There's a minor grade. So right now we'll say that its top speed is 60. It is very adamantly slowing down here. It should be accelerating. There we go, that's better. We still got a little bit of wiggle room here, so. That's a derailment. I knew that would happen. I knew that would happen around that curve. I just knew that that would happen. Second derailment in a review. That's kind of shocking, but we get to see how it browns. It definitely. I wonder, does the brown show up better on the Dove paint scheme over? Oh yeah, no, it very much shows on the Dove style scheme. You can really see the browning. Why is it not wanting to? That's weird. Okay, moderate glitch there. It's not wanting to transfer the color over. Hang on, let me close out of it. Reopen it. Dove. That is weird. Oops, shoot. Oh, shoot. That is odd. Okay, well, I guess I'll go to the locomotive and do it. Boop. We'll just transfer it like that. There we go. Okay, yeah, no, that brown very much shows up on there. It also really shows up on the cars that all came off the track. But, I'd say 60 miles an hour is about the top speed you could probably hit with this thing. It could probably go faster, but 60 is about the limit you really want to push on something like this. Are you going to roll? You're trying to. All right, so let's take a look at some of the stats of this locomotive. If we go to mode compagnie, let's see here. Where is the Dove class? Where does it fall in the power rankings? Let's see, a little bit more than a Mikado. There's the Atlantic right here, the Paragon. Let's see, the Dove. 59,000 pounds attractive effort. That's good. Factor of adhesion is a 3.7 though, compared to the Atlantic, which is, or the Pacific right here, 4.5. If we look at the Atlantic, 4.7. So 1 percentage point more attractive effort on the Atlantic than the Hudson, but the Hudson has more pulling power than the Atlantic. Do I think this mod is worth it to update if you haven't updated it? 100% yes. Get the update, get this new engine. There's a lot of stuff you can play with. If you have like special classifications, like special fonts, it'll take the special fonts, which is cool. There's a new nameplate, which is nice, and you can actually properly name the engines. And I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. I would say, though, there is an idea that I've been trialing and testing and what have you. If you give it a full streamlined set of cars, give it the extra help and benefit of Where is it? The SP booster unit. Give it the booster unit. Only because of red marble. If you're not going to run it over red marble, you don't need that booster unit at all. Stays on time, it's very good, hardworking, and doesn't consume fuel and water like mad, even though it has a massive tender. But, yeah, I think it's an awesome mod. I definitely think you guys should get it. Thank you very much for watching this video. Before I leave, though, quick shout out to this guy right here for even suggesting to do an update review on the Dove class. So big preach for that. If you guys like this video and you want to see more videos like this, hit the like button down below, hit the subscribe button down below, hit the notification button, become part of the gamer team, and check out LB Energy. They're amazing. They're awesome. Every time you use my creator code, you help support the channel. I really appreciate it. And with that being said, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this review, and I'll see you next time.